we are looking at the impacts of agricultural and trade policy on the cost of nutritious diets in Ghana and Tanzania. My name is Sarpong, and I'm doing this with colleagues from Tanzania and also from Tufts University. And I have with me here Professor Ross Masters, who is part of this study. We've been asking ourselves, how do agricultural production and market policies affect the affordability of nutritious diets? So to answer this, we need to know more than just average food prices. We need to count foods in terms of their nutritional value. So how might we measure the affordability of a nutritious diet? Can we use these measures in practice, given available data? Now, existing measures count foods consumed based on their monetary value only, without reference to nutritional quality. And examples are like the FAO and the World Food Price Indices that reflect quantities traded on world markets, and national consumer price indices. So, to measure the cost of a nutritious diet, we need new indicators. So, our project, Yanda Kandasa, we offer a set of metrics to help answer these questions. And we've piloted this in Ghana and Tanzania with academics and policy makers at various workshops and fora. There we introduce price indices corresponding to each nutritional standard, such as diet diversity and recommended diets. Now, for policy analysis here, we focus on just one of it, which is the cost of nutrient adequacy. So we'll call that CONA, C-O-N-A. And it is the least cost combination of foods to meet nutrient requirements. This CONA provides a lower bound on cost of a healthy diet. And then now we test how different policies alter those costs in Ghana and Tanzania. And we found this to be very useful for applications and a potential for policy analysis, because we have specific formulas and results for a wide variety of applications. And here we provide results to contrast policies of agricultural production, like our planting for foods and jobs in Ghana now, and then versus policies to improve markets, like Tanzania's trade policy. The cost of nutrient adequacy is, like I said, a lower bound on affordability of nutrients at each time and place. Now, the CONA is the least cost diet at each market, retaining the minimum cost of buying enough nutrients for an average adult woman each day. So what we see is we are minimizing the total cost of a nutritious diet, which is the sum of the product of the price of the food and then the quantities of that food, and it is subject to, now this N here is the density in nutrients in that food, multiplied by the quantity, which must be greater than or equal to the estimated average requirement for that nutrient, plus the energy balance at daily level E. So CONA depends on the quantity of each food that is chosen based on its price, its density in nutrient, and the woman's estimated average requirement for that nutrient, plus energy balance at daily level E. So variation in CONA comes from variation in prices as measured for a market information system. So here in Ghana, we use the Ministry of Food and Agriculture's food price data, or inflation statistics. Like in Tanzania, we use the Tanzania's National Bureau of Statistics data. So a little about the data used. Now, the Ghana food price data lacked diversity. It had only about 26 food grouped into about 6 food types, so groups. So we have cereals, white roots, nuts and seed, and so on. So what we did as a project was to help Ghana Ministry of Food and Agriculture expand this price data collection to include more diverse and nutrient-dense foods. So you see here, those in red are the new data that has been added to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture's data collection. So now, Ghana's weekly market price reports include these foods that are marked in red. So now we have a more diverse and more nutrient-dense foods in the portfolio of the food prices that are collected by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. On the other hand, Tanzania's food list was already more diverse than Ghana's. They had over 46 products that they were monitoring, and it covered almost all the food groups that are required. So, to the model. Now, you look at this. Now, these are the foods that are selected or chosen for the least cost diet plans in Ghana by the model. For instance, you see this is 2009 to 2014, the average. So, on the average, the model selects, on the average, 11% of cassava, which is about 21 grams per day. The model selects about 69% of maize, which is about 50 grams per day. So you see that on the average between 2009 and 2014 for Ghanaians, the food wasn't that of cassava, it was more of maize or rice. More of maize or rice. Now, in Ghana, achieving nutrient adequacy at lowest cost will require eating a kilogram of mango and a quarter kilogram of soya beans to be able to have all the nutrients that you require per day. And this is unrealistic. And that is why we had to dialogue with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to increase the diversity in the food prices that they monitor. Now, in Ghana, the data is from March 2009 to December 2014, which is 70 months. So, in effect, we calculate 70 cost of nutrient adequacy data, 70 of them, because we do it for each month. In Tanzania, and my data is cut off, but in Tanzania, it's from January 2011 to December 2015, which is also about 60 months data. So, in effect, we also compute 60 kona. Okay, so we have a distribution. Yes, Tanzania is there. Now, let me quickly tell you what is happening here. So given the framework we set up, when we do our simulation, this is the baseline. So we do two simulations. One, we increase the prices of the various food groups. And then we compare how that behaves to the base. So this is the baseline. At baseline, for KONA, cost of nutrient adequacy, you need about $2.33 US for that baseline in Ghana. So what we do now is we shock each of the prices. We increase prices by 10%. So we do that for pulses, nuts and seeds, fruits and vegetables, starchy staples, and then animal foods. And then now we put them side by side and relative to the baseline. So what we find out for Ghana is that price changes in fruits and vegetables have the greatest impact on KONA. For 10% price increase, the median KONA increases by 4.8% from USD 2.33 to USD 2.44. When we do the opposite, when we reduce it by 10%, for 10% price decrease, the median KONA decreases by 5% from USD 2.33 to USD 2.21. So we do the same thing for Tanzania. So Tanzania, price changes in pulses and nuts and seeds have the biggest influence on KONA. And then we do the simulation for market efficiency, whereby we either say the market has deteriorated, so in that case, the variances or margins within prices increase, or we say that there's efficiency in the market system, so variances decrease. Now, when we do that, for Ghana, fruits and vegetables have much stronger impact on KONA. And similarly, it has much impact on Tanzania. Now, let me tell you the implications and conclusions. Now, our results point to opportunities for more investment targeting these specific food groups. Diet costs in both countries remain sensitive to the prices of starchy staples and animal products. In our analytical framework, when an intervention successfully reduces the cost of one set of foods and associated nutrient needs, other nutrients become limiting factors, and then different interventions are needed. Now, this insight follows from our whole of diet approach, recognizing that meeting nutritional needs requires a balanced approach, targeting low and stable prices for all major groups. Thank you very much.
The Planting for Food and Jobs policy came in somewhere 2017. And then the data you collected goes beyond the policy. I don't know how, can you explain to me? Could it have been different if the data was collected within the time period of the policy?
The question is the impact of agricultural diversity, which did not come very clearly to me. So I wanted to find out, how did you measure that? And maybe I might have missed, but so I see you are always comparing between the 2 years of the DHS. So I was saying, where is the diversity in here? And also, you mentioned of the, you are comparing data diversity and stunting. Just a small one, do you think there could be endogeneity there that probably, I think there could be codetermined? So did you think of trying to check for that? Thank you.
You mentioned the longer breastfed children are the more stunted. So why do you think that is happening, and how much you are exhaustively consider the confounding factors during your analysis? Thank you.
We're not going to get a response from our presenters, but I want to encourage you to have a one-to-one because we have completely exhausted our time. Continue to build this network or community to try and figure out how we can improve nutrition on the continent. So thank you very much.